Hello, welcome back to From the BON, the Burnley podcast. This is a rapid reaction to Burnley 2, Tottenham 2. I'm Simon Evans, with me Paul Woodhouse and Chris Borden, who were both eagle-eyed watching that game and that performance. We'll have a full debrief tomorrow with the lads who were on the turf, but let's get into that one now. Woody, 2-2, if you look at the game as a whole, probably a fair result, but still a kick in the stomach to lose it so late.
Yeah, you know that it's not enough. That's the thing, and also you watch that game, and if you look at it from a Tottenham perspective, you would have been felt extremely hard done to had you not got something out of it. But the fact that we had probably two chances, scored both of them somehow, and then they managed to get an equaliser towards the end. And had there been probably another 5 or 10 minutes, they probably would have gone on to win it. So it's probably a decent point, but a pointless point, isn't it, at the end of the day? It doesn't really do us any favours, does it?
No, it doesn't. You look at them results, Chris, now, 3 in a row, drawn with Manchester United, drawn with Liverpool, drawn with Tottenham Hotspur. They're 3 good results at the start of the season. You'd have said, that we're doing well if we're getting results like that. But they don't help us when we've not won the games we've had to win.
No, like I say, I thought they were all bonus points then. Maybe you fancy Spurs at home often because they are so Spursy. They're so brittle, aren't they? Especially away from. Although, albeit this season, it was the second best away record in the Premier League behind Arsenal.
Yeah.
They're just so poor at home. But you say you're going into the game thinking, well, this is an opportunity. They're vulnerable Spurs, even though they won in the week in the Champions League. But then you've got the initial hit of West Ham actually turning up for a change and making it 2 wins from 2, and all of a sudden it's a chasm to West Ham. Never mind safety, and you just felt this has to be won by hook or by crook. And it looked like they might have found a way, but let's say as soon as they'd scored the goal, it was almost like, it was a combination of Spurs sort of going up a gear maybe, but I felt it was like the United game. We were almost trying to play for time, and we can't hold on to a lead. We can't defend when we need to, and it felt to me like the League Cup semi-final. I thought there was going to be some late heartbreak, and so it turned out.
Woody, we started pretty well. Then they really battered us, didn't they? And the goal came in the midst of that battering from Van der Ven. But, we've come back and got ourselves level and then got in front. Just talk us through a little bit, the way you saw that game going, because they were absolutely smashing us at one time in that first half. Dubravka's made some brilliant saves. That double save in the first half were outstanding, but it was hard work, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were losing a lot of second balls. We were sloppy, but it's that thing once proper Premier League sides turn up and start to play and go up a gear, we haven't got the gears to match it, and that's where you see in days like today how we're extremely fortunate to see any kind of parity. And it was only arguably some of the counter-attacking play in the second half where we did break on occasion exquisitely well, through the likes of Anthony and Edwards and what have you. And if Breuer could actually, get a shot off, we may have seen something different. But it's the fact that we kind of lost it in midfield during the first half. Ugachukwu and Florentino dawdling on the ball and whatnot. And it's just that, they just seem to be a second or two behind where the game's going, and we're just not up to parity and up to speed a lot of times when they take it up a gear. And so it's no real surprise. It's amazing that we actually get results out of some of these games, to be fair.
That goal to get back into the game, Chris, Kyle Walker whipping in the cross and Twanzebe there to provide the finish, which you wouldn't put much money on, would you? But great ball from Walker, wasn't it?
No, we don't score enough goals from that sort of delivery. Getting your centre halves forward into the box. But as I said before, they're vulnerable Spurs. And the one time we put any decent quality in there, and it's on a plate for Twanzebe, who took it very well. To be fair, he made sure he got the right contact and directed it in the corner, and was it his first ever league goal?
Was it? Yeah.
Remarkable, yeah. But I
Really?
mean, he was in there in the second half for another delivery, and they are areas. Look at West Ham's winner against Tottenham last week. They're so flaky, Spurs, from those situations. But I say, you're looking at what sort of side are we? We're not a set piece side. We're not a counter attack side. We're not a pressing side. We're not. People talk us as this low block defensive side, but we can't defend because we let in at least 2 goals a game. And it's, I say, ultimately, it's all adding up. We're going to go down with a shabby points total, I think, in the end. And days like this are nice for the supporters. When you can avoid defeat against the big hitters, but ultimately it's going to add up to nothing.
Yeah, it does. It does add up to not a lot, doesn't it? But again, effort rate. You've got to say, Breuer, as you said, Woody, didn't get shots off in 2 good opportunities he had, at least 2 good opportunities where you'd expect the goalkeeper to be worked, and he didn't. Foster comes on, and, the cynics amongst us are like, well, that's not going to really change a lot. But it did, to be fair. He bustles
Exactly.
about, and I mean, it's almost comical goal in some respects. The second attempt, even that was going straight towards 2 of their players on the line and managed to squeeze through. But we got his nose in front there, and that was all due to sort of effort and sweat and graft, wasn't it?
Yeah. We nearly conspired to miss that second one, I must admit. But I must admit, I felt in the first 15 when they actually missed that chance in the first 10 seconds, and then they also conspired to keep fluffing their lines a little bit. I was thinking this is one of those days where you could probably get something out of this. And then once we went 2-1 up, or definitely against the run of play. But like Chris said, we rarely see games out, especially in this division, and it's just par for the course yet again. So it is what it is, isn't it? And so it goes.
I mean, Dubravka does deserve a bit of attention, Chris. I mean, that second half save where I thought it had hit the post because he looked so far away from it at the start.
Yeah, the one from Tell's miraculous save. He's done great, Tell. He's guided it. He did well to guide it towards the far post, and I don't know how he's pulled that one out, but the one in the first half, the double save, where he's got down brilliantly, and then he's squirmed out to Gallagher, hasn't it? You're thinking, I mean, Gallagher could do better, but he's managed to keep that out. But he's had one of those days, hasn't he? A game where he'd probably walk away with Burnley's Player of the Season award, but unfortunately, he's also had them days where afternoons where he's cost us. The West Ham one in particular, which is particularly painful.
Yeah. I mean, Woody, any performances there? If we're looking for silver linings in another sort of disappointment, any performances catch your eye one way or the other?
I thought Edwards was solid when he was in the game. It's very easy to kind of take him out of the game, but he transitions a ball quite nicely. He does do a good job of like finding a man and linking that play up. But other than that, there were like slight flashes at the beginning from like Anthony. Florentino's very much hit and miss, isn't he? Either looks like a quality player, and then all of a sudden he just gets the ball taken off at the end of his toe. So, I mean, but defensively, I thought Perez looked all right. Walker had a bit of a mare. Bash didn't have as good a game as he has done against the other 2 bigger sides, and so I'm not really claiming out of the rest of them. It was all very much a 5 or 6 out of 7 rate of effort, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, there was disappointing from. I thought with Edwards we saw exactly the problem with Marcus Edwards. We saw little bits of his mini Messi stuff where his control and the way he gets them on their heels and everything. But then he's pushed off the ball so easily, isn't he?
Yes.
He's lightweight at this level. It's a disappointing result in the end. When we look at what could have been. but it's still, we're 5 points behind West Ham, Chris, and we're 7 points behind Forest, who play at Brentford tomorrow. That could become 10 points conceivably. We're starting to get to numbers that it seems, into miracle territory now, aren't we, really?
Yeah, I was listening to the interview with Marcus Edwards before the game, and he's saying, quite rightly points out, there is a lot of points to play for, and there's quite a lot of duels down there. We still have to play Wolves at home, and we still have to play West Ham at home, and we still have to play Forest and Leeds. But like I say, you'd imagine we're going to have to win maybe 6 out of what have we got left? 15 games, having won 3 all season. I mean,
We have to
stranger
win half
things
of
have
them,
happened,
aren't
but
we?
it's
Really?
just, yeah, it looks. I mean, it looks unlikely, doesn't it? It really does. And so you've got like Sunderland coming up, and Sunderland haven't turned up today, and you know what you're going to expect with a packed stadium alight. It's going to be fierce and it's going to be difficult, and yeah. We've got to put this run to bed first and foremost, and then see where it takes us. But nipping this in the bud sooner rather than later, and then we can start afresh.
Yeah. Couple of weeks left in the transfer window. Well, just over a week now, isn't it? Just over a week. That game at Sunderland on the Monday, and the window closes that day. So we'll see what happens in that. The lads will get into all that sort of stuff tomorrow. But at least, some effort and some fight there. It was good to hear Turf Moor on the telly anyway. Good to hear some noise from the Burnley fans and not just Spurs fans taunting us when we were winning.
It was a great second half. If you just look at it purely from like a neutral footballing perspective, we've been quite entertaining, but it still doesn't matter, does it? You know what I mean? I don't want to be entertained. I want us to fucking win.
Yeah. Well, if we're going to go down, we go down fighting, and at least we were doing that. At least we were doing that today, for sure. Thanks very much for joining us. The lads will be back with a full debrief tomorrow, going into that in more detail, no doubt talking about this final week of the transfer window and whether Alan Pace is going to get his hand in his pocket and deliver us some players who can perhaps lead a miracle recovery campaign. Until then, up the Clarets.